My name is Elvira Fritsche. I'm a student recruitment manager at Lancaster University Leipzig, and very happy to see you here today. I see there are many participants joining, students and our partners. And today's webinar is devoted to our trusted partner, Brain Capital, and colleague, a counselor from Brain Capital, who I will introduce a bit later, will tell you more about the possibilities of funding your studies at Lancaster University Leipzig. So let me please remind you about who we are in a very short presentation about Lancaster University Leipzig. And then we continue with Brain Capital income share agreement presentation. This webinar is also recorded for those who cannot join the webinar live today, and we'll be sending you out the recordings of this video that you can share further. So Lancaster University Leipzig is campus of Lancaster University UK. We are located in Leipzig in Germany, and we are offering you combining the best of the two worlds, the best quality UK education that you can obtain in Leipzig, Germany, in the country of the third biggest world economy. Second. Okay, so let's point out why you should choose Lancaster University. Lancaster University is among top 150 globally recognized and best universities in the world, according to the QS World University Rankings. And a recent complete university guide in the UK ranked Lancaster University as the 10th. So Lancaster University is constantly among the top 15 best UK universities. Yeah. We decided to open the campus in Leipzig, Germany back in 2020. And yes, I mentioned earlier, now you can combine studying in the country, in Germany, with the third largest economy worldwide, getting the top quality UK education. Leipzig is located just 1 hour train ride from Berlin. Pretty, very beautiful city, very safe, very student friendly. Usually the students, they arrive in Berlin or Frankfurt and get here either by train from Berlin or from Frankfurt by plane or by train as well. Leipzig was, by the way, ranked as the 5th most livable city in Europe, according to the satisfaction of its citizens, its sustainability, its affordability as well. Is a very student-friendly city. There are so many other universities in Leipzig, except Lancaster University Leipzig. And this means that the population here is also quite young. It's very convenient in the streets when the students also do not yet speak German, haven't learned it yet. So communication is English, is possible, and it's quite convenient. The city is very international. It's 15% of international population, 100,000 university-aged inhabitants. And as we offer our students great career support on campus with one-to-one guidance, various seminars and workshops throughout the year on career building up skills, and career fairs twice a year on campus, and many other perks. It's a huge business hub here in Leipzig, and our students, they find internships or student jobs in the local companies or a bit bigger companies, also bigger corporations, and they add up during their usually summer holidays, but also students who are really good with their time management. They can handle both studying and working as a student during the academic year. All right, the campus is right in the city center, in a very beautiful city center of Leipzig. It's welcoming. Our student services are always approachable. It's we offer you modern facilities, bespoke and education. It's lots of smaller and bigger areas on campus, so you can really focus on your studies. It's also fun. We arrange quite a few events on campus for students together with our social committee, which is also our student initiatives. Our students themselves, they start various clubs and societies that new students can join. And during the welcome week, you will feel how engaging this all is, and our current students and our staff members, we're going to take really good care of you. At the moment, we are around 450 students on campus, and even more actually, and more than 70 nationalities are represented on campus. Our programs. So before we start, as I mentioned, Brain Capital introduction, I must say that this partner of ours, Brain Capital, you can get funding only for degree studies, even though we offer except bachelor's and master's degree programs. We offer pre-masters and foundation for those who do not meet direct entry requirements. So you should know that income shared agreement could be only obtained for degree studies funding. Upon graduation, the students receive the Lancaster University degree certificate. And let me also show you which programs at the moment you can study at Lancaster University Leipzig campus. It's a Bachelor in Sciences with honors in accounting and finance, business management with accounting and finance, business management with business analytics, business management and media, computer science, and software engineering. These are our programs for Bachelor of Science degrees with honors. And students who, for any reason, do not meet entry requirements for the above-mentioned programs, they can start with the Foundation in Computer Science or Foundation in Business. These two programs are not funded by Brain Capital. We also offer master's studies. It's master's in data science, in cybersecurity, logistics and supply chain management, and master's in management. You can start with a pre-master's degree in computer science or in business if you do not meet our entry requirements for direct master's degree entry. All right, so that's me. You can contact me if you have any questions about studying at Lancaster University Leipzig, about admission process. Yeah, and you can follow us on various social media. Yeah, our great partner joined us today, Ann-Kristin Nett, Key Account Manager for Brain Capital, and Ann-Kristin will cover the following questions about income share agreement, study first, pay later in her presentation. Who can qualify for this funding, selection criteria, application process, and payoff conditions, and many more. You can also feel free to ask questions in the questions and answers section, and later we'll get back to this. You can also write in the chat or this section Q&A, and Ann-Kristin will respond. Thank you again, Ann-Kristin, for joining us and for offering such a great opportunity for those who are interested in income share agreement and studying with us at LU Leipzig. So I'm going to switch off myself, and please take the stage. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Hello, everyone. Nice to meet you. Hope you are doing well. My name is Ann-Kristin Nett, like I was introduced, and I'm a key account manager at Brain Capital. Let me just quickly share my screen. I hope it will work today because last time I had some technical issues, unfortunately.
It works.
Okay.
It works. We see
Does it work?
everything. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Thank you so much. So just a few words to Brain Capital in the beginning. It is the largest provider of financing alternatives in Europe as of today. We originated actually from a student initiative, true to the motto from students for students. And yeah, Brain Capital is right now one of the leading partners for students, universities, and also investors in the implementation of yeah, alternative financing concepts. And we do offer that one product, which is the income share agreement, which I will be talking about today. So, how does it work? Well, Brain Capital covers your tuition fees while you can fully focus on your studies. And then after you successfully completed your studies, two conditions must be met in order to start repayment. Of course, like I already said, you have completed your studies successfully and you reach a minimum income of 30,000 per year. We always calculate in euros, so 30,000 euros per year. As long as you are under the minimum income, the redemption will be postponed. So when you meet the two conditions, you successfully completed your studies and you reach the minimum income, you will pay back a fixed percentage of your income, of your gross income. Very important. We always calculate with the gross income for 10 payment years within a period of 20 years. So it's a fixed percentage you pay of your income for 10 years within a period of 20 years. The fixed percentage at the moment would be for bachelor's degree 10%, and for the master's degree, we have 3.7%. But this repayment rate, like we call it, the fixed percentage, is always dependent on the funding amount that you want to get. So there are only the 10% and 3.7% if you also want to cover the full degree. If you decide to take less of an amount, then the repayment rate, so the fixed percentage, would proportionally reduce. That means if you take half of the funding amount for your studies, you only have half of the repayment rate, the fixed percentage. And the 10 payment years are always stable. So it's always 10 payment years within a period of 20 years. So this also, since the payment years don't need to be sequential, because of that 10 payment years within a period of 20 years, it gives you some flexibility, opportunity for gap year, or no stress, of course, for searching for a job. Like I said, you don't reach the minimum income, you're not in repayment for that time, the repayment would be postponed. Also, in general, the maximum repayment is capped. Then just a quick, your advantages, just a quick overview of it. So first of all, of course, freedom in your career and personal life planning. So no stress of the repayment as long as you are under the minimum income of 30,000 euros per year, the repayment will be postponed. Then, of course, flexibility depending on your income. So you can do full or partial funding or only certain semesters. So all is possible for your funding. We only need to set it up in the agreement. And also there's one restriction we actually have, because we have a minimum funding amount, which would be 10,000 euros. But from the 10,000 euros to the maximum funding amount, you can take whichever amount you need. We just, like I said, have to set it up then in the agreement, so we all know for sure what the funding amount would be. And then we have, of course, security. So as long as you don't reach the minimum income of 30,000 euros per year, yeah, you're not in the repayment, so you're not in the payment phase, and like I said, repayment would be postponed. Then for the fourth point, this financing model is based on a principle of solidarity, which means high payments from beneficiaries with high salaries compensate for lower payments of other students with lower salaries and support, of course, future generations of students. In case of a extraordinary high income, payments are kept at twice the funding amount, which is also, of course, written down in the agreements. And as the last point, but that point is only for Germany, just so you have the information if you decide to take a job in Germany. The tuition fees are tax deductible in Germany, so that is a very important point as soon as you pay taxes in Germany. And for the very last point, which is also missing in here, since this income share agreement is not a loan, it doesn't affect your credit score for future loans. So it can also be combined with a classic loan or with other financing options. Then we do have the application process, but before I start with that one, I want to talk about who's eligible for the income share agreement or for the application to Brain Capital. So in general, we only accept EU citizens, or for non-EU citizens, we need a permanent, unrestricted work and resident permit within the EU. There are also exceptions for high wage countries like USA, Canada, UK, Switzerland, Norway, and Australia. The selection criteria would be that we need a GPA of 3.0 or better on a German scale in your school diploma. And also for most of the degree programs, we need a pretty good grade in mathematics, which is about, in general, on average 7 points. In Germany, 7 points on a German scale, which is also then very important that we have a pretty good grade in math, which is the GPA and the math grade are hard criterias, actually. Then we do have some soft criterias which we are looking for, but they are not as important as the hard criteria. For soft criteria, we look at the work experience and at the languages you speak. Then for the how do I apply for the application process? So the steps of the application process are pretty simple. Like you see here, interested parties should send their application with all necessary documents, which is the CV, the ID or passport, transcripts of your school diplomas, and the offer letter from Lancaster. You can send that to us as soon as we receive those documents. We can screen them. We will check your application and then contact you within 1 to 3 business days. Most of the time that works pretty good. And if you meet the criteria, we will arrange a video call to discuss the details of the income share agreement, which can usually take place within a week after receiving the application. Before the video call, you also get a draft agreement, so you can already read through the agreement, and we then would, in the video call, just clarify all open questions regarding the income share agreement. And after the call, it is your decision to accept the financing offer or not. The agreement can be signed digitally, and after that has been done, we would then get in contact with Lancaster and inform them that we are taking care of your tuition fees. For that slide, I already did that at the beginning. That's just an introduction of Brain Capital, which you then, of course, get at the end of this webinar. And for the last slide, we have the contact info on how to get in touch with us. Here we have the email address where you can send in your application documents, and also the website where you can find more information regarding the income share agreement. There you can also send in your documents. You can find the conditions of the income share agreement regarding our degree programs that we offer. You can find FAQs if there are general questions that are still to clarify, or you can just find all information on there too. That was it for my monologue. I hope you enjoyed it, and I am open for questions.
Thank you, Ann-Kristin. I have actually two questions from our side. When the student has an EU passport, but lives somewhere else, let's say in Egypt, can they still apply for the funding?
If they have a EU passport, then they can apply, yes.
Okay, from any country they are located in.
Yes, because most of them also have some experience in other countries, and that's also what we are looking for, actually.
All right. Another question would be, so you said EU and UK citizens plus a few extra countries with high income. Are there any EU countries that you do not fund, like students from certain countries among
No, all
EU?
EU countries. So the countries that are in the European Union are all eligible.
Then will French applicants be funded as well then?
That depends actually on the case.
Okay, so this is case
French,
by
yes,
case.
I'm sorry, I forgot that. For French citizens, it's case by case, because that's a legal issue in
Okay.
France. But that's the only exceptions as of right now.
So
But we
this is not
also
a
look
hard
case
no.
by case.
Yeah.
It's not a hard no, no.
Okay, great. We have a couple of questions in Q&A section. Can a foundation student apply now for funding for the first year? Means that if the student holds a foundation offer, and in their offer, we have usually foundation year and 3 years of the degree studies. Can they already start the application for the next study year when their degree studies begin?
Yes, of course. We can check that beforehand if they are eligible for the income share agreement or not. That would be wise to check that before thinking that you, of course, get the offer. So check that beforehand and start the process as soon as possible.
Thank you. So if the student were not studying maths in high school, but the student is enrolled in the foundation year, can they still apply for funding? Means that you said there is a hard criteria that their GPA and math should be great or good with the German criteria. But if the student was not performing well in math at school, but this foundation year sort of compensates this, can it compensate and they still apply?
Actually not. It cannot compensate the high school diploma. That is the hard criteria which I have to look for, the GPA and also the math grade.
Okay. And where can student check out the equivalency to these marks that you mentioned? You said math should be 7 approximately average. are there any online sources where they can check which grades in their country are equivalent to this German 7.0 in math?
Well, there is no specific tool which we are working with. Most of the time, you can find sheets online where they transfer the grades to other countries.
Okay. One more question. If it's a 10 years fixed repayment, does it mean if the total quantity borrowed is repaid back in just 6 years, for instance, the students has to still be repaying until reaching those 10 years? I mean, probably
Yes.
this means if it can be shortened. Yeah.
It cannot, because that's a kind of like the whole idea of the income share agreement. So people that have a high salary pay back more, and students that have a low salary pay back less. So that kind of compensates in the income share agreement. So you can fund the students for future generations or the ones that have a low income, and if you have a high income. So that's kind of like the compensation in the income share agreement. It's not to be seen like a classic loan.
Okay, so it's minimum 10 years. If they do not repay in 10 years, it can be stretched up to 20. If they want to repay like faster, it's 10 years fixed.
And no, it's a fixed percentage um, for 10 payment years. The period of 20 years is only because the 10 payment years don't have to be sequential because of the minimum income. So if you are in repayment for 3 years and then you're under this minimum income of 30,000 per year, the repayment is postponed for, like, for example, 1 or 2 years, and then you're again in repayment. That is the reason why we say in the period of 20 years. For the not so realistic scenario that you don't have 10 minimum income years in 20 years, anyways, after 20 years, the agreement is up. So it's closed after that, even if you didn't reach all the 10 payment years. That's
Mhm.
kind of like the security in this. So you don't have a risk of bankruptcy because of
Yeah,
the agreement.
yeah, yeah. Okay, well, one more question. Does Brain Capital offer student loans to European students who wish to study outside than Germany, Netherlands, or Italy?
No, this is this here is only for Lancaster, and we do have a general master's education fund, but that is, like I said, only for masters.
I'm sorry. Could we please confirm whether students who have completed A levels without mathematics will not be eligible for support, assuming they meet the other academic and admission requirements? This means that Despo, check if I'm understanding it correctly. So, for instance, to study at Lancaster University Leipzig, when the students study British A level, so British curriculum, we are also looking into their math results, but their math results do not have to be in these last A levels of studies.
No.
We are looking into the previous years as well. So this the so-called GCSE certificate, and if math is there, would you accept this as well?
Yes, yes, of course. It doesn't need to be at the end. Of course, not for the A levels. I also have a look before that. It doesn't need to be in this curriculum. Yes. I
Okay.
just need a grade. And sometimes it's like they said, not in the A levels, but before. Yes.
So that's why I hope we answered your question. If not, please write again. Okay. If the math grade are not so good in high school and the student follows the first year and Lancaster at our university, can they apply for funding for the second and third year? So
Mhm.
again, you will be
That's a,
checking again high school.
yes, yes. That's the same with the foundation year. You cannot compensate it.
Okay, even though they have math and economics in their academic schedule, you will not be looking into their current
No,
performance.
no.
That's very sad. Okay. Um, is the 10% repayment calculated based on the gross monthly, yearly income or net?
It's a gross income, so before taxes.
We're expecting more questions. Yeah, so from our side, we must say that so far, the students' experience going through the interviews with Brain Capital and getting funding for the studies with us was very positive. We have students from really different countries who got this funding, and yeah, quite happy with that. What is the minimum grade at math? So, Ann-Kristin, could you please repeat it again? The
Um,
minimum grade.
that's that's 7 points on a German scale, which is kind of like a average grade
Can you say
in
7 out of how many?
7. Let me just check what.
Out of 15?
Yes,
So it's
yes. I'm
Abitur.
sorry.
So
Yes,
it's
I
like
had to just.
half. Half, yeah, 7
Yes.
out of 15. And we need to look at the equivalence then, because in the more the better in Germany, in German Abitur. But that's like middle, yeah.
Mhm.
It would be great to research if there is some online source where we can enter this equivalence. We have it in our own admissions team, of course, but we are operating based on the UK grades. So, but Brain Capital, they review the equivalence to the German grade, so that's a bit different. Could you please confirm whether the hard criteria is just based on math, or are you considering other hard criteria? That's
No,
the
the
question.
GPA, that's the GPA hard criteria, which is 3.0 on a German scale, and then the math grade.
And
These are the two hard.
3.0,
It's also the average. 3.0, and then if you calculate it, it would be a 3.5 for the math grade, if you want to do it like that, from 1 to 6.
uh-huh. Yeah, so 7 was like Abitur grades, but if GPA
Abitur grades,
general, then
yes.
it's three and a
But if you
half.
have the general, yes. Which where is 1 the best grade and a 6, of course, the last one, and then 3 would be the average
Mm-hmm.
and what we are looking for. Yes.
Any other questions? So yeah, we would also like to confirm what Ann-Kristin presented earlier, that except EU countries, students with USA, Canada, UK, Switzerland, Norway, Australia, passports could also apply. Of course, not automatically this is granted. They also need to go through the interview and the whole application process, but for those students, that would be also possible.
And sorry, I want to add, I just got the confirmation that the exception for French citizens is no longer for us. So I don't have to check on a case by case, but it's all French citizens that
Oh, that's
can
great.
also.
Very
Yeah,
good
I just got
news.
the confirmation. Sorry. Yeah.
Good news for us. Um, Friends, so I think all the questions that you wrote here in the Q&A section were answered. Um, can wait a couple of more minutes if any other question will pop up.
Of course.
And then actually, yeah, we're done. If you have then later any other questions, please feel free to direct to me. and we'll connect with Ann-Kristin and reply to you.